SuperTalk Mississippi media production. It's time to talk about dogs.
Bulldogs have won it.
Talkin Dawgs, that is, with Robbie Faulk, right here on SuperTalk 100.9.
Talkin Dawgs is on your radio here on SuperTalk 100.9 in the Golden Triangle. This is Robbie Faulk from Maroon and White Daily over at On3 Sports, and also the Starkville Daily News, bringing you another great episode of Mississippi State and local high school sports talk here right in the Golden Triangle and beyond. You can listen to us on supertalk.fm online on our Listen Live section or on the app. And we also have a Talkin Dawgs podcast that you can download each and every week here on Wednesday. We'll bring it right to your phone, tablet, computer, wherever you listen. And wherever you are listening around the state of Mississippi, some of you around the country, and maybe a couple of you around the world, man, thank you so much for tuning in each and every week here to Talkin Dawgs. I know that it's been a very, very difficult few weeks for you Mississippi State fans out there. But just know that we're all suffering through it together. I'm a guy that grew up a Mississippi State fan that decided to get into this business covering a team that I grew up loving, and it's brought a lot of heartache for me behind the scenes over the years. I'm not afraid to say that publicly. I feel like I can call things for what they are, and most people kind of know where I come from, and my history. I graduated from Mississippi State over a decade ago. I've grown up around Starkville, Mississippi all my life. So, this hurts me behind the scenes too, but we have to power through because each and every week I have to come on this radio show and I have to talk Mississippi State sports. And each and every day, Monday through Friday, I get on our podcast with Brian Haydad here on SuperTalk, and I talk Mississippi State sports on Thunder and Lightning. That's why on Wednesday mornings, I really enjoy the rumblings. And if you aren't listening to Thunder and Lightning, I advise you to go download that too. Join in on our Rumblings episodes. Every single Tuesday I'll put out a tweet on Twitter where you can send whatever your thoughts are to Brian Haydad and myself. A lot of them are non-sports related, and I really enjoy those, especially through times like this. And if you live under a rock and you don't really know what's going on in Mississippi State land, then good for you, first and foremost. I'm really happy for you that you are so pulled away from what's happening with Mississippi State sports that you are not going through what this poor fan base has gone through. 2 years ago, Mississippi State won 5 ball games under Zach Arnett. They lost the last 4 SEC games of the year, lost the Egg Bowl, all that jazz. Zach Arnett was fired in the middle of the season. Jeff Lebby was hired. It was kind of a major rebuild for Jeff Lebby. 2-10 last season, 0-8 in SEC play. Most of the games weren't even close. And State went out in the offseason. They kept most of this coaching staff together. They went and improved the roster in an incredible way. And they started this season 4-0. You guys were along for the ride. It was a great start to the season. Since then, Mississippi State has done everything possible to lose ball games in SEC play. And it's incredibly frustrating to you State fans out there because you see how close this team is and how close they are to winning these ball games. You can count at this point 2 top 25 games they should have won that they didn't in Tennessee and then recently against Texas. And they were in the ball game against a team that I think is going to contend for a national championship in Texas A&M on the road. They're down 14-3 going into the fourth quarter, and they had opportunities there. We're going to talk about the latest of those, which might have been the most heart-wrenching loss for Mississippi State yet. We talked about Florida last week. Somehow, I think this one was worse for the Bulldogs against Texas. We're going to talk a lot about that when we come back. We're going to hear some thoughts from Jeff Lebby on that heartbreaking 45-38 loss in overtime to the Texas Longhorns. I'm going to give some thoughts as well. I was in the stadium. I watched it all transpire with a lot of you out there. We'll talk about that when we get back. More Talkin Dawgs coming your way here on SuperTalk 100.9. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
At Bank Oklahoma, we treat our customers like neighbors, and usually they are. You're more than just an account number. At Bank Oklahoma, you have a name, a family, and hopes and dreams for your financial future. I'm Hunter Robertson at Bank Oklahoma in Bruce. We'd love to earn your business and help you reach your financial goals. Come see me or call 662-983-3700. Bank Oklahoma, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Looking for quality and convenience? Matheson Hardware and Building Supply has you covered. We deliver lumber, roofing, doors, windows, and more straight to your job site. And check out our full line of Milwaukee battery-powered tools, plus plumbing, electrical, and Valspar paints for every project. And now we're your local source for guns, ammo, and so much more. For over 100 years, Matheson Hardware has been built on a legacy of customer service you can trust. Go find them at 281 Scott Avenue in Matheson, Mississippi, or call them today at 662-263-4583.
Power up your convenience with the 4County mobile app. Managing your electric account has never been easier. With our free mobile app, you can view your bill, balance, and account details, report outages, track restoration progress, and make secure payments online. Stay informed by scheduling alerts and reminders for important account updates. Whether you're at home or on the go, the 4County app puts control in your hands. Download the app today and experience the power of convenience.
Hey, this is William Wells. When you drop your vehicle off with us, you can trust us with our ASC certified technician. We'll take care of everything you need. Brakes, struts, shocks, alignments, check engine light, tune-up, tire sensor, tires, everything. Stop by any of our 3 locations in Starkville, West Point, and Columbus, and let our team give you the championship service you deserve.
Hello, I'm Lee Burrell, proudly serving Oktibbeha County. The Citizens Bank has been serving our community for over 116 years, and I'm proud to be part of this vital community bank. With over 22 years of financial experience in commercial, mortgage, and consumer lending, I'm here to help with all your loan and deposit needs. Call me at 662-323-1420 or stop by my office located at 201 Highway 12 and say hello. I'm looking forward to meeting and talking with you soon. The Citizens Bank, www.thecitizensvilla.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You're listening to Talkin Dawgs on SuperTalk 100.9.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk back here on 100.9 in the Golden Triangle. Thank you for spending your Tuesday morning with me talking Mississippi State sports. And we got some local high school sports coming your way as well. This every single week is brought to you by Jess Brantley and his agency over now for Alpha Insurance over in West Point. Jess is a great friend of mine, and I can tell you I would trust him with my insurance needs to the ends of the earth. He is an incredible insurance salesman, but he also cares for you as a person, and he'll take care of you. Whenever you have a car wreck, you hit one of those deer that's just standing there on the side of the road that refuses to get out of the way, or one that decides just to run to the side of your truck, he'll be there to help you. You have some tornado damage, some storm damage to your house, Jess is one phone call away. Life insurance policies, you have to take care of your family. Men out there, go get a life insurance policy. Make sure that your wife and kids are taken care of. I've seen it so many times. Families are just left in the dust because the husbands or whoever did not take care of their family. You got to take care of your family. Jess will set you up with that. Get the insurance bundle that they have over there at Alpha Insurance. You can call him today at 662-494-4142, or just go walk into his office right off of Highway 45 there in West Point, 36 South 4th Street. You can go find Jess today. I promise you he and his crew will take care of you and help you start saving today. All right, guys, we talked a little bit about it before we went to break. Mississippi State falls 45-38 in overtime to the Texas Longhorns. This one was especially tough. It looked like the Bulldogs were on the verge of finally getting that elusive SEC win and doing it in dominating fashion. They had dominated Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns to the tune of a 38-17 lead, or what was it at the time? 38-21. 38-21 lead in the fourth quarter. At one point was 31-14 in the fourth quarter. The Bulldogs were in full control. They were harassing Arch Manning like they had not in the last 2 or 3 years. This defense was all over the place in Arch Manning's face, making plays. They got a big interception from Kelly Jones in this game. Offense was clicking. Blake Shapen threw for 381 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Devon Booth nearly had 100 yards for a second straight game. This is the 5th best defense in the country in total defense and the 3rd best scoring defense. Mississippi State scored more points against Texas than they had surrendered in I guess 3 years. I think for sure in regulation since 2023. And then it all came crashing down. The Bulldogs gave up 24 straight points from the fourth quarter into overtime over the last about 12 minutes. I think it was a little over 9 minutes when Texas scored to cut it to 10, and then things just fell apart. And there's so many things that you can say. I don't know who to blame. Obviously, Jeff Lebby gets the bulk of the blame again for being the head coach of this team and not being able to get it done. But there's a lot of bad luck involved. There's lack of execution involved. There's bad play calling on certain situations. There's bad game management. Mississippi State punting the ball to arguably the best punt returner in the country and watching him return that back for 6 points to tie the ball game and then eventually send that game to overtime. State's offense just completely falling apart. 4 consecutive possessions without a score after that Devon Booth touchdown. It was just all bad for Mississippi State. And I think the best thing we can do is send it to Jeff Lebby and let him talk about what exactly went wrong for Mississippi State in this loss against Texas.
As you and your staff have had a chance to evaluate and watch film, is there anything new that stuck out to you about the way the game ended or anything you think you guys would do differently or should do differently?
Yeah, I talked to the team a ton this morning. Sunday's a huge reflection day for me, obviously, in a lot of different areas, from whether it's game planning, calling the game, situational football. The thing that I don't like is not taking the time out after second down in 2 minutes at the end of the game, just incredibly conservative, not wanting to give the football back to them. It's not who I am, and that's the one that I'm going to hang on to and learn from more than anything. Had the ability, probably should have taken the time out, bring them over, talk. I love our third down call. You go back and you watch the tape, it's frustrating. Blake's going to throw the check down in the flat to Vaughn, and the tip of the ball hits his thigh pad, and the ball comes out, and he's going to complete a ball from me to you, and we're going to gain 20, 25 yards, call a timeout, and go kick a field goal. That's this game. And those moments are crushing, but I want that back in a big way. So that one for me, again, really frustrating. Hated just the fact that, man, we do what we do inside the first 3 quarters, and then we're up 17 to start the fourth. They make the huge chunk play on third down where we got a chance to get off the field. They go score, we answer with the 3-play touchdown. Vaughn makes a great play, Blake makes a really good play, and we go back up 17, and then we never got the ball back up 17. And defensively, we have this great drive the next drive for the first 4 plays, and we get off the field. We're going to be first and 10 plus 34, and up 17 points. With just under 10 minutes left, and we extend the drive because of a personal foul, and they can go the length of the field and go score a touchdown. Now we're up 10. So there's so many moments in the entire football game that give us a chance to have a different outcome. Those that I'm pointing to right now are the ones that weigh heavily on you because they are chances to win the game and leave no doubt. And that's something that we're going to continue to talk about, leaving no doubt, and find ways to continue to strain and fight like hell to be +1 at the end of the day.
Coach, you talked about that possession, last possession, and calling timeouts and things like that. You've been a play caller for a while now. Yeah. You've had to transition into play caller, head coach.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you've handled that and calling plays and also understanding the situations throughout the game, and who do you lean on in those situations too?
I think where people see things a little differently is guys that have been coordinators and calling plays, you've always had to deal with the situations because you have the ball, so you're in control. So whether you're calling a timeout, whether you're trying to gain 6 to 8 yards from a field position standpoint, going back now 2 weeks ago, whatever it is, like, you've been in control of the football. You've had to deal with the situation. So from a situational standpoint, I think we've been really clean. I hate that I didn't take a timeout after second down because, again, it's just way, way, way too conservative and being worried about them getting the football back because they had all the momentum. Us having the ability to call timeout and, again, go talk to our guys. If we end up not converting on the third down, they're going to call timeout immediately. We're going to have to punt the ball away. There's going to be probably 25 seconds left, and I should trust us to be able to go get a stop and not let them get in field goal range. So, like, situationally, again, I feel like we've been in a pretty good place. I think we've done a great job handling the 2-minute warning in both sides of halves, not putting our defense in a bad spot at the end of halves. And, again, for me, always taking from it, man, always being incredibly critical of myself as I'm in control of the game, and things that will continue to come up that we can always find ways to maybe make it better and give us a better chance.
You talked about after Saturday how you want to try and find out what foundation we have. How have you been able to do that just in the 48-ish hours that have passed since then?
Guys inside the building yesterday, which I expected, and just, man, disappointment, frustration, shocked. Like, this really happened, and it did. And our guys this morning, through leadership council meetings, our team meeting, position meetings, unit meetings, kids are resilient, man, and they'll fit off the leader and fit off of the people coaching them every single day. I think we've got a pissed off football team, a team that isn't hanging their head, is not feeling sorry for themselves, a football team that is ready to go prove that we're a good football team, and that's my charge, because we have a good football team. We got a tough football team. I hate the fact that we're not having the ability to feel that and the success. I hate our fan base doesn't have the ability to feel that. With the way they showed up in Davis Wade, our student section, the energy, the passion, like, as good a game day experience as you can have. And I hate that our fan base and our people that are so invested don't get to feel good about winning a big game. So, man, it's everybody involved, but again, our guys are going to be ready to go play on Saturday, and they're not going to be any feeling sorry for ourselves. We fully understand what's ahead of us, and I think that's what's most important.
All right, that was Jeff Lebby. Gave us some thoughts. I think he's been really good the last few weeks at his press conferences, but no one in this fan base really cares about what's being said at this press conferences anymore. It's just falling on deaf ears until Mississippi State can find a way to win. How do they find a way to win? That's the big question. We'll talk more about that when we come back from the break. I got some thoughts on Mississippi State's issues of winning these ball games, and also looking ahead to Mississippi State and Arkansas right after the break. Stay tuned. We got more Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk here on SuperTalk 100.9.
When you're a Yellow Jacket, school spirit isn't just for game day, it's every day. That's why the Citizens Bank created the School Stash debit card for Starkville schools. With every transaction, select credit instead of debit, and we'll donate 5 cents to the district. It's an easy way to show your pride and support local schools with every purchase. Stop by 201 Highway 12 and get your School Stash debit card today. The Citizens Bank, in your corner every day. Member FDIC.
Now's the time to get a great deal on proven Kubota farming equipment. Tractors that can do it all and do it right. Hay tools that are backed by a 2-year warranty. And durable Sidekick utility vehicles and SSV skid steers. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 5.49% APR for up to 84 months plus instant cash discount and 2 years extended limited warranty. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit H&R AgriPower, your local Kubota dealer at 841 South Frontage Road in Columbus. H&R AgriPower has the power to get you more.
Fork County Electric Power Association has spent more than 85 years working to improve the quality of life of all we touch. And that's why we created the Fork County Foundation. Thanks to the generosity of Fork County member owners, the foundation has awarded more than $2.5 million to organizations that support the communities we serve. If you have a 501c3 organization that helps improve the lives of Fork County members, visit forkcounty.org and see if the Fork County Foundation can help you.
Looking for quality and convenience? Matheson Hardware and Building Supply has you covered. We deliver lumber, roofing, doors, windows, and more straight to your job site. And check out our full line of Milwaukee battery-powered tools, plus plumbing, electrical, and Valspar paints for every project. And now we're your local source for guns, ammo, and so much more. For over 100 years, Matheson Hardware has been built on a legacy of customer service you can trust. Go find them at 281 Scott Avenue in Matheson, Mississippi, or call them today at 662-263-4583.
Find a friend in the banking business at Bank Oklahoma and take that friend with you using Bank Oklahoma mobile banking. Manage your accounts, make deposits, payments, and transfers anywhere and anytime. Bank Oklahoma offers small town feel with big city convenience and the personalized attention you deserve. I'm Joy Faulkner at Bank Oklahoma. Better together, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Talkin Dawgs on SuperTalk 100.9.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk is back here on SuperTalk 100.9 in the Golden Triangle and wherever you get your podcasts, or if you're listening online at supertalk.fm. I want to thank our folks over at Matheson Hardware and Building Supply in Matheson for their support of this show, a place that has been near and dear to my heart my entire life. My great-grandfather started this business back in the early 1900s. They had a store in Sherwood, a general store that moved to town. My grandfather, Stanley Ellis, ended up working in that store with his brother and his father. My mom grew up in that store with her sisters. My dad, when he met my mother, ended up working with my grandfather there. And then my cousins own the store. Oswald's Building Supply is what most of you remember this store as. Well, now Brad Huffman and Ted Dewitt have taken the store over. This place means so much to those guys, and I love what they've done with this store over there in Matheson. Gutted the thing out. It's a store that's been around since the early 1900s, so the building has some great bones. But what they've done in there is just incredible. The modern look in there and the supplies that you can get from this store is second to none. So if you guys are thinking about going to a big corporation or a big hardware store out there, think twice. Why don't you go in here and check out what they have at Matheson Hardware? Everything you need is right there. They got Valspar paints. They got Milwaukee tools in there. They got everything that you need as far as your wood for your job site, and they deliver. So you got to go check out Matheson Hardware over there in Scott Avenue, right off of Highway 82 in Matheson. Go check them out Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 7 a.m. to noon. They're closed on Sunday, but they're open 6 days a week. So go check them out, or you can find them online at mathesonhardware.com. Before we move forward, I was talking about my family and how much this hardware store means to me, and the community around Matheson and nearby Ackerman and places like that. We lost a dear, dear friend to our family and the community, a huge Mississippi State fan as well. Also is gone today, and I hate to hear the news of Mr. Gary Oswald, a man that I saw 2 or 3 times a week when I would go to breakfast. You've been to these breakfast stops where you walk in and you see that table full of veterans, is what I like to call them. The old men that they've been through it. They've seen a lot more than I have, especially when it comes to Mississippi State. Mr. Gary was one of those guys, and he's a great dear friend of our family of many, many years, dating back to my grandfather. And he was a giant Mississippi State fan. He listened to the show weekly. He listened to Super Talk every single day. Always stopped by to let me know that I needed to keep Brian Haydad in line, and was always super supportive of me, what I was doing at the newspaper. and all that. So I wanted to dedicate this show to Mr. Gary because I knew that he was such a fan of Mississippi State and of sports talk. And here in the Golden Triangle, Super Talk Mississippi, he had that on every day. So I want to let the Oswalt family and all those folks that love Mr. Gary so much know that I'm thinking of you guys in this difficult time. We're surely going to miss Mr. Gary and the light that he brought to everybody on a daily basis. All right, moving into this conversation about what we saw this past week, and I'm going to go more big picture because we've talked. Every week I like to kind of move away from just the game breakdown. You guys have heard it at this point. In Mississippi State falls 45-38, and I just don't know what it's going to take for this Mississippi State team to just find a way. If you look at what's happened after the first 4 games, the Arizona State game was a great win for Mississippi State, and I've heard people recently say that Mississippi State's closer to 3-5 than 4-4, and I think you can make a case for that. But I do think that the Mississippi State finding a way to win the Arizona State game should count. That should absolutely count for you. They won the ball game, and if you're saying that they did everything that they could, other than getting that final score against some of these other teams, they dominated some of these games. They should have won the Florida game. They should have won the Tennessee game. They just found a way to lose. Well, they found a way to win that Arizona State game, so that game counts. But when we're looking at SEC games, you lose in overtime against Tennessee. You lose in overtime against Texas. Those are games that you led in the fourth quarter. And Tennessee is one thing. The Texas game was complete domination at one point for Mississippi State. 38-21. The stadium is just ablaze after Devon Booth's catch and run for 62 yards. And it just felt like finally Mississippi State's breaking through, and they're breaking through in such a big way on a national stage. People were watching it saying, what in the world is happening with Texas? This was just flat domination in the second and third quarters and into the early fourth. But State, again, they found ways to let Texas back in the game. And that's the problem with this team right now, is they're finding ways to give the game to these teams. Florida, you throw an interception when you're driving down the field to kick a game-winning field goal. Tennessee, you can't get off the field and you can't keep them off the scoreboard on that last drive. And then you weren't doing enough offensively. They're late to go make plays. Texas A&M, early in the game, there were opportunities there where the defense was holding that Texas A&M team down, where State could have taken advantage and gotten out to a decent lead in that game. They only got 3 points until the fourth quarter when they scored a touchdown. And Texas A&M, they pulled away late, but that was a competitive game. It was 14-3 going into the fourth quarter. Texas A&M scored a couple of offensive touchdowns. They got a fumble recovery inside State's territory where they got another touchdown. But State was in that ball game. There's no doubt about it. And that's the Texas A&M team that I think is capable of winning a national title. That's how close this team is. But close doesn't count. In this sport, and in really any sport, close doesn't count. You have a winner of a game, and you have a loser of a game. And right now, Mississippi State is 0-4 in conference play. Jeff Lebby is 0-12 in the SEC. Mississippi State is 0 for its last 16 in conference. That's not going to cut it. And it's incredibly frustrating because when I hear Jeff Lebby talk and I see his team play, you cannot tell me that this team is a bad team. They come out, the way that they compete, what they're doing offensively most of the time. I know there's some frustrations with the play calling at times. I know there's some frustrations with Blake Shapen. Blake Shapen's thrown for 700 yards the last 2 weeks. I mean, the offense is capable of doing big things. Jeff Lebby is capable of doing big things. There is enough on the field right now for Mississippi State to be in contention for the playoff. So, to me, Jeff Lebby has the makings of being the guy at Mississippi State and being a really successful coach here. The problem is he's got to win. He has got to win games because that's what you get paid to do. You don't get paid to put up 38 points against a top 5 defense if you're going to lose. The offense is great when it's clicking. They need more consistency there. The defense showed a lot of good things in that ball game, but they also gave up 45 points. And it's really hard to understand like how this is happening. And now you look at it, and your final 4 games, you have 3 top 25 opponents on the way. You got to go on the road to 2 teams that I think are winnable games, Arkansas and Missouri, and both of those teams are on the road. You know, if those games were at home, I would feel a lot better. Georgia comes to town. Ole Miss comes to town. 2 playoff teams likely are coming to Mississippi State. This is going to be tough, but somehow, some way, Jeff Lebby has got to find a way to get to 6 wins. And it almost feels like it has to happen this week. They have to go to Arkansas and win this game. 3 o'clock on Saturday. Arkansas is 0-4. They're 2-6. As Jeff Lebby said, probably the best 2-6 team in the country. Their offense is top half of the league. Bobby Petrino's done a really good job with that offense. You can make a case for Taylor Green being one of the top 3 quarterbacks in this league. Their defense has been really bad, but this offense can score against anybody. And that's going to be a challenge this week. You're going on the road against a team just as hungry as you, playing at home. Mississippi State's got to find a way to win. Can they do it? I don't know. I don't know if they can do it. But if they can't, you're staring down the middle of 0-8 for the second straight year and 20 consecutive SEC losses. That cannot happen. So Jeff Lebby's got to find a way. Somehow, some way, they've got to go to Arkansas. They've got to win this week. And I feel like we've said that for 3 straight weeks. But we're back to it again. I mean, Jeff Lebby, these close losses are tough, but at some point you got to break through. And when they break through, maybe something special happens. We'll see. All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back, some Starkville Daily News high school football coverage coming your way. When we come back from the break, I got some things to break down as the final week of the regular season is here for several teams. We'll talk about that when we get back. This is Talkin Dawgs, Robbie Faulk on SuperTalk 100.9.
Bank Oklahoma is committed to the communities we serve. We offer the small town feel with big city convenience and give you the personalized attention you deserve. Come see me, Gene Childs, Community Bank President in Houston and Manatee. We have locations in Aberdeen, Bruce, Houston, Manatee, Oklahoma, and Tupelo. Bank Oklahoma, where we are better together. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Landowners, are you ready to turn your timber into real value? At Good Hope Land and Timber, we specialize in helping landowners like you make smart, sustainable decisions. Whether you're planting a final harvest, thinning a stand, development thinning, or managing your forest long-term, our experienced team is here to guide you every step of the way. We're trained in the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and follow best management practices to protect your land and maximize your return. Call me, Jake Moody, at 601-416-6266. Good Hope Land and Timber, locally trusted, landowner approved.
Hey, this is William Wells. When you drop your vehicle off with us, you can trust us with our ASC certified technician. We'll take care of everything you need. Brakes, struts, shocks, alignments, check engine light, tune-up, tire sensor, tires, everything. Stop by any of our 3 locations in Starkville, West Point, and Columbus, and let our team give you the championship service you deserve.
Hello, I'm Lee Burrell, proudly serving Oktibbeha County. The Citizens Bank has been serving our community for over 116 years, and I'm proud to be part of this vital community bank. With over 22 years of financial experience in commercial, mortgage, and consumer lending, I'm here to help with all your loan and deposit needs. Call me at 662-323-1420 or stop by my office located at 201 Highway 12 and say hello. I'm looking forward to meeting and talking with you soon. The Citizens Bank, www.thecitizensvilla.com, member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk on SuperTalk 100.9.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk back on the air here on SuperTalk 100.9 and the Golden Triangle. Thank you for joining me for another week of Talkin Dawgs. And we've had a great show already and more to come here as we get set to talk about some high school football in the area. This is my Starkville Daily whip around as we get ready for the final week of the regular season for many of our teams. Starkville is obviously down to 2 games, but the rest of our teams are getting ready for the playoffs. And it's going to be an exciting playoff run for teams in our area. I really believe we have at least 2 or 3 teams that have the ability to get to Starkville and Davis Wade Stadium for the state championship. I think West Point is certainly going to have a good shot. Once again, I think it'll be the 10th straight season that they've done that if they can do what we think they can do. And then, I think East Webster is capable of it. We're going to talk about East Webster as well. I think Starkville, you never know with them. We'll start with the Jackets. Last week, homecoming for the Jackets. They had a big win over Clinton, 28-7, a couple weeks ago to kind of get back on their feet a little bit. Came out and dominated Murrow. We knew that was going to happen. 55-14 was the final in that one. This week's big because if you win this week, you're right back in the mix for a district championship, and it really kind of depends on what happens with Germantown, obviously, because Germantown is still kind of fighting. They lost a heartbreaker to Oxford a couple weeks ago. The game they should have won. You win that game, they're right in the mix for a district title because they beat Madison Central for the first time ever last week, 21-17. They got Clinton this week, which is a dangerous game for them because I think Clinton can hold them down defensively, but Clinton's had a lot of trouble scoring points. So that's going to be an interesting game for me. But this is a Germantown team that is not the Germantown team we've grown accustomed to watching in 7A and then back in 6A when that was the largest classification. This team is capable of doing some big things this year. And this is the first team they've had that's been a real contender in the district. So watch out for the Germantown Mavericks this year because I really think this is a dangerous team in the North and 7A. And this region is going to be a real problem whenever it gets into the playoffs. This is the reason that teams like Tupelo did not want to leave this division because it's such a gauntlet when you go throughout the schedule each week. Once you get in the playoffs, you're built for it. And every week is a grind for the most part. And Tupelo is going to be the number 1 seed likely coming out of the division playing the number 4 out of this region too. That could be Madison Central. It could be Clinton. You don't want to play those teams. Starkville, who knows what happens with them. But this week for Starkville, it's a very big week. They're closing out their final home game. They have really owned the series with Madison Central at Starkville. And Madison's had a lot of success at Madison. But the Jaguars have had trouble beating Starkville consistently at Starkville. And a lot of teams have. That has been a place that's been very difficult for a lot of teams. And this week is big for Toby Collins and company. They had a really tough loss to Germantown, 21-17. They lost to Oxford by 2 points. Their 2 losses so far on the year is by a combined touchdown. That's their 2 losses in district play. And they lost to Brandon. They lost to Brookhaven. So Madison is coming into this game hungry. Starkville's coming into this game looking to, get into the mix for district championship. And that sets up Oxford Starkville Little Egg Bowl next week, which should be an absolute monster of a game. Because the Chargers have district championship on their mind. They've moved back into Region 2 for the first time in a few years. They've been in the other region. They're now back in this district, and they've heard about how tough this is. Well, they can come right back in and go undefeated in the district and win the district title. So big game this week for Starkville. You get this win, you're guaranteed to be, obviously, in the playoffs. and sitting here at no worse than 7-3 in the regular season in John Carr's first year. That would be a very good first year for John Carr, but they have high aspirations, and they plan on competing for a state championship. To do that, you need to win these next 2 games, I think, for John Carr to really show that this program's moving fast into the future here with Carr. And 4 straight wins to close out the regular season would be strong going into the playoffs. They want to be playing their best these next 2 weeks, and they've been kind of up and down. They've had some really good offensive performances and didn't show up on defense. They've had some really good defensive performances and were just okay on offense. They need both of those sides of the ball to be playing at a really high level down the stretch. West Point is looking like an absolute machine again. They won 51-7 over Caledonia. Their first 3 district games have been 50-13 against Pontotoc, 41-6 against Lafayette, 51-7 against Caledonia. You got New Hope. New Hope is probably the last gasp in the regular season of someone upsetting or even being close. I mean, no offense to Columbus, but these next 2 games, it's going to be tough for the opposing team to keep up with West Point. Just so physical. They grind you down. They have a very good shot at going 10-0 in the regular season, and Brett Morgan has just got that thing humming. But New Hope is not a team to overlook. This is a program that has slowly found its way back into contention. They've had some proud seasons in the past, but they look like a real contender. They have scored points at a high clip. They've scored 322 points in 8 games this year. They've had 2 games where they've scored over 60, and they're sitting here at 3-0. They are coming into this ball game on Friday night thinking they can win a division. If they beat West Point, they are in the driver's seat to go win a division, and that is something special for New Hope, who has found its way back towards the top. Really struggled for a few years. Last year they were really competitive. This year they look like a contender in the North and 5A. So this is a really good opportunity for New Hope on Friday night to have a chance to win the division, to get that 1 seed in there, and to move into the playoffs and look like a team that has every opportunity to compete for the North and 5A, which is wide open outside of West Point, but knocking off West Point is going to be the challenge. Last week, as we moved down to 3A in our Starkville Daily coverage area, Choctaw County, they had an opportunity these last 2 weeks to go take the division, but we knew it was going to be tough. Noxubee and Winona to close out the regular season, they lose those 2 ball games by a combined 4 points. They looked like they were in position to beat Winona. The Tigers come back and win it 24-21. Just a tough loss for Choctaw County, which likely puts them as the 3 seed, but we'll see what happens here with Aberdeen. Aberdeen has a chance to actually win the division on Friday night. How about that? They're 2-1 in the division. They have already beaten Noxubee County this year. They have an opportunity, or Winona actually is who they beat. They have an opportunity on Friday night to beat Noxubee County and win the division. That's going to be tough. This is a very, very difficult division to get through. Noxubee County, Winona, and Choctaw County have played in the state championship. Noxubee County's played 3 consecutive seasons. Winona won the state championship 2 years ago against Noxubee County. Choctaw won the state championship last year against Noxubee County. And Aberdeen now looks like a contender. So that's a very tough division. Choctaw County, as I said last week, they canceled their game with Houston to close out the regular season. They actually have a bye this week to rest up for the playoffs, and they will sit back and see where they fall in the district standings. I've been at East Webster the last 2 weeks because East Webster's fighting for they've won the district, but they look like a team that can really contend in the North. 8-1 now, 3-0. After dominating Velma Jackson 35-0, that had a running clock in the second half. Back-to-back games with a running clock. I went and saw them in a 48-0 win over Holly Springs. Now 35-0 over Velma Jackson. This is one of Ron Price's best teams. They've given up 10 points per game defensively. Jason Smith does a great job on the defense for East Webster. Their offense is putting up a ton of points. They've had about over 30 points per game offensively. So this team looks like a real monster. They go into Friday's game against Eupora, who looks like they're going to miss the playoffs after starting the year 5-0 and 6-1. They are going to miss the playoffs. It looks like they're looking to spoil their rival season, and they're going to play hard. They have an absolute stud at quarterback in Peyton Perkins, who's averaging over 200 yards rushing a game. That's not going to be an easy ball game for East Webster because I know Eupora is going to be ready and playing hard for that. So this is a very, very interesting matchup to close out the regular season. Ron Price, when I talked to him last week after the game, would not talk to me about the district championship. They won the district title for the first time since 2010. He didn't want to talk about it. He said, I want to wait and see if we are undefeated district champs. That's our goal. Our goal wasn't to win the division. Our goal was to win the division undefeated, and they have a shot to do that on Friday night against Eupora, trying to go to 9-1 and 4-0 in district play, the first district championship in 15 years. That's a big deal for East Webster. That's coming up Maroon Bowl on Friday night. Finally, Starkville Academy, tough loss against Heritage 34-14, and they got Hartfield on Friday night to close out the schedule. They're 6-3, 4-2. They're going to be in the playoffs. This is a big game for them, but they just want to stay healthy, get ready for the playoffs, and we'll see where they fall there. So final week of the regular season for everybody but Starkville and West Point in our area. So stay tuned. Next week I'll be breaking down the playoffs. Cannot wait. Chill in the air. Everything's getting closer to playoff time. Let's get ready for some fun football. All right, guys, we're going to take one more commercial break. When we come back, we will talk a little bit more about Mississippi State and Arkansas coming your way on Saturday. We'll be right back. This is Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Looking to complete those tough jobs and don't have the right equipment? Let H&R AgriPower in Columbus help you out. We now offer Kubota's mini excavators, track loaders, and L-Series tractors available for rent. You can also rent attachments like our cutter heads, grapples, post hole diggers, and more. Give H&R AgriPower a call for daily, weekly, and monthly rental rates. Stop by your hometown dealer today. Visit us at our new location, located at 841 South Frontage Road in Columbus.
Power up your convenience with the 4-County mobile app. Managing your electric account has never been easier. With our free mobile app, you can view your bill, balance, and account details, report outages, track restoration progress, and make secure payments online. Stay informed by scheduling alerts and reminders for important account updates. Whether you're at home or on the go, the 4-County app puts control in your hands. Download the app today and experience the power of convenience.
Hey, this is William Wells. When you drop your vehicle off with us, you can trust us with our ASC certified technician. We'll take care of everything you need. Brakes, struts, shocks, alignments, check engine light, tune-up, tire sensor, tires, everything. Stop by any of our 3 locations in Starkville, West Point, and Columbus, and let our team give you the championship service you deserve.
Looking to get the most out of your land? Trust the experts at Good Hope Land and Timber, your full-service land and timber company with years of experience in forestry and land management. From land and timber purchasing, timber management, plantation thinning, and development harvesting, our team handles it all, safely, efficiently, and sustainably. Our experienced logging force is trained to the highest standards under the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and best management practices. Call me, Jake Moody, at 601-416-6266. Good Hope Land and Timber, locally trusted, landowner approved.
Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk on SuperTalk 100.9.
Welcome back to Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk. We're getting ready to shut this thing down. Thank you guys for tuning in once again, and I want to thank our great sponsors at Alpha Insurance, Jess Brantley over in West Point, 662-494-4142. Call Jess today. Start saving with Alpha. And like I said, go get you that bundle. They'll save you a lot of money over there at Alpha Insurance, and they'll take care of you too, which is the most important thing. Also, Matheson Hardware and Building Supply in Mathiston. Don't go to these big stores where nobody knows your name. You know, you go in there, you ask somebody, where can I find this? They don't really have a clue. What do I do with this? I don't know. I've heard I don't know so many times at these stores. Matheson Hardware and Building Supply, they know where everything is. They know what everything's for. They'll do whatever it takes to make your experience a great one, and they will deliver to your project. So go see them today, Matheson Hardware and Building Supply over in Matheson. Thank you to Jess. Thank you to Brad and Ted at Matheson Hardware. And thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of this. It's been another tough week for Mississippi State fans out there, but another opportunity coming your way on Saturday. This is a battle between two teams that have just found ways to lose over and over again. Can Mississippi State be the one that comes out on top finally? That's the big question. Or is it just not meant to be for this team? Is it not meant to be for Jeff Lebby? There's a lot still to play for. And you're just devastated at this point. You're sitting here at 0-4. Mississippi State is, you lose another game this weekend. Odds are going to a bowl game is not going to happen at that point. So you're playing for a bowl game this week. You're playing to stay alive for a chance to play in a bowl. And that is so important to Jeff Lebby because he wants to keep his team together in December. He wants to get those extra practices, and he wants to give those guys a reward for what this team and this program has been through for the last 2 years and this fan base. Beating Arkansas feels like a must for this team to have that opportunity, and that is what's on the table. Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State have been in position to win at least 3 SEC games to this point, and they've found ways to lose all of them. Now you're going on the road against a team that has done a lot of those same things. Tennessee was on the verge of beating Tennessee, Texas A&M, Memphis should have beat them. They were up 21-10 on Auburn last week and found a way to lose. State has got to be the one that takes advantage of that and not the other way around. But these two teams are in very similar situations. I would say the State's defense has been way more competitive than Arkansas's. Arkansas's offense has been far better than Mississippi State's in many ways. But State has shown the ability to be just as good. They just haven't been as consistent. So who comes out on top? That's the big question this week. Can Mississippi State find a way to win? Does Arkansas end their losing streak? Arkansas's last SEC win came against Mississippi State and vice versa. Mississippi State's last SEC win was at Arkansas in 2023. The Bulldogs are trying to end a 16-game losing skid that started the week after that game. So this is a big one. I think you win this ball game, you get some of that grace back with this fan base. I think this fan base is willing to get back on board with Jeff Lebby if they can find a way to win. They just want to win. They just want to find a way to get an SEC win again and to feel good about themselves going into another week. It's been few and far between over the last 3 years. So let's see if State can pull it out. All right, guys, thank you once again for tuning in. I want to remind you guys to go download the Talkin Dawgs podcast. If you aren't already, you don't have to listen live on the radio every single week if you're not able to. You don't have to listen live online. You can download that podcast, Talkin Dawgs Robbie Faulk, anywhere you get podcasts. It'll be delivered straight to your phone every time we upload it after the show. So go do that right now. Give me a 5-star review. That'd be really nice of you, and I greatly appreciate it. Tell your friends about this show, too. Let them know what we're talking about here on Talkin Dawgs. All right, guys, appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. See if the Dogs can pull it out. This has been Robbie Faulk. I'll catch you down the road.
You've been listening to Talkin Dawgs with Robbie Faulk.
Mississippi State with a victory here.
Listen each Wednesday at 9 a.m. on SuperTalk 100.9.
Don't you know I'm gonna make it with my friends? I promised myself I'd get by. Said I'm gonna try it with them too.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.